Boil bubbly and cook with me.
Okay guys, I'm so excited because this is a special episode. This episode is for Valentine's Day. And that's why I'm dressed in my red. I dressed all up for you in my red and my good Chanel because this is the day for lovers. It's a romantic day. And nothing is more romantic than Italian food. So therefore, we're going to cook seafood spaghetti. This is the most romantic dish, guys. Take your time with this dish. Y'all should cook together on this dish. This dish is to be praised. Bon appetit. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm so excited about this episode. So this episode has quite a few ingredients. So we're just going to go down the list, how we always do. So you're going to have your fresh tomatoes. You're going to have your zucchini and squash. You're going to have your red onion. This dish is all about color. This dish is romantic, it's colorful, it's artistic, it's just, it's levels to this. You have your lump crab meat. Look at that lump. The lump is just so amazing, oh my God. You have your lobster tail. All of that good lobster. Our seasoning rundown is going to be our Worcestershire sauce, our red wine. You can see I love to cook with it. I don't have much, but you don't need much. You just need a dab of this. Your basil, your salt, your all-purpose dash, your garlic, your seasonal, your onion seasoning, pepper, Italian seasoning, oregano, marinara sauce. Yes, that's right. Those spaghetti sauce in a jar, you're just going to have marinara sauce. We're going to make our own spaghetti sauce from scratch today. Cajun seasoning. I don't know why I don't have up here, but also you're going to have your cayenne pepper. I'm going to grab the cayenne pepper out our Lazy Susan, and we're going to get that in the dish too. But you're definitely going to put your cayenne pepper into. You're going to get your regular spaghetti. You want real spaghetti. You do not want no thin spaghetti for this. You want real spaghetti because the textures, it just all has to marry. No thin spaghetti. You want to get your fresh Parmesan cheese. And your olive oil. Let's start this amazing dish. This is a showdown. Let's go. Okay guys, so before we get started, you have to have your bubbly on this one. It's Valentine's Day. I got Azul bottles over here because you might want to take a little stronger drink for this one. But I have my champagne. So we're going to take a sip and we're going to get into this romantic dinner. We're going to start with prepping our noodles. Now with prepping your noodles, you're going to fill your pot up maybe a 1/2 inch under your screws or your pot. Your water should come about a 1/2 inch under your screws. You're going to take a knife. You're going to dab that knife into your oil and you're going to just drop it down right into your water. Then you're going to take your oil and you're going to come over to this pot and you're going to drizzle. I know I love to drizzle. Don't fill the pot fully. Just drizzle. And we're going to get started. So we're going to cut our noodles a little over medium. Not fully on high. I have a gas stove. You're going to go midway. You're going to go midway. A little bit before medium. And then for our spaghetti, we're going to go all the way medium. And then we're going to get your good old sauce spoon. And we're going to drop our vegetables. First, we're going to drop our onions. Then we're going to drop our beautiful tomatoes. Then we're going to drop our zucchini. And our squash. So put all your zucchini and squash in. And we're going to saute this down in our oil. Now, while you're in the process of cooking your veggies, you are going to put just your sauces on right now. So we're going to put a little Worcestershire sauce. We're going to put a little bit of our red wine over top of these veggies and cook. We're not going to come in with seasonings yet. So we're going to drizzle our Worcestershire. And we're going to drizzle our red wine. Already, it's beautiful. It's full of color. It's just, where this is about to go is so amazing. And like I always tell y'all, I like to move my pot. I have a second pot on the stove so I can't fully move it at a 360, but I want to do it at a 180. And we're going to sit this for about 3 to 5 minutes and we're going to let this cook. But with this one, we're actually going to cover. And let the steam smother down, marry everything together. We're just going to let that all cook together. And I'm going to come back in about 3 minutes. And then I'm going to pull the cover off and see where my veggies are. And then we're going to start creating our spaghetti sauce. So now we're going to take our cover off. And our vegetables are absolutely beautiful. They're cooking down. You're going to stir them just a little bit. I want them to get just a little softer. You can feel it on your spoon. When you go to touch your vegetables, you can feel it on your spoon if they're caramelized enough, if they're, cooked enough, if they're soft enough. They're not ready yet. So that has been about 5 minutes they've been cooking. We're going to give them about another 2 minutes. They're almost there though. They're very close. And then we're going to throw in our marinara sauce and we're going to start to make our spaghetti sauce. We're going to let our water come to a full boil before we put our noodles in. I always let my water come to a boil. I never drop my noodles in before my water is boiling. That's just a holy grail in the kitchen for me. While my veggies are sauteing, I used 1 cup of a medley of cherry tomatoes. I used a half of red onion. I used just 1 squash and 1 zucchini. That's all you need for a large portion of spaghetti. So just 1 squash, 1 zucchini, a half cup of tomatoes, and 1/2 of a red onion. And if you have the small red onions, because I get the big ones, but if you get the small red onion, use the whole red onion. Okay, so now we're going to go into creating our sauce. You're going to use marinara sauce. No spaghetti sauce. We're going to create our spaghetti sauce. So you're going to use marinara sauce. Victoria is my absolute favorite marinara sauce. I have 3 jars over here. We're going to make a good portion of spaghetti. And you're just going to pour that in. pour in your marinara sauce, here comes the seasoning. We're about to create the herbs and the seasonings that's going to go into this marinara sauce and give it all the flavor. Like I always tell y'all before, it doesn't matter the order, it's just the proportion. So you're going to sprinkle each seasoning right over top of your spaghetti sauce. How much? If you're not good at measurements, like I always tell you, use a tablespoon. For your Cajun seasoning, you can use a teaspoon because it's spicy. But for everything else, I would say a tablespoon would be very good. Now, while you're putting your seasonings on, I like to turn my heat down to low because you don't want to overcook nothing, you don't want to burn anything. You want to be able to season this properly. You want to take your time with it, so cut your heat down to low. As soon as you take that top off and you start to pull that marinara in, take that heat all the way down to low. And then we're going to create our sauce, take our time with it, make love to it, and then we'll come back up on the heat. Now your Italian seasoning, you're cooking Italian. So you want to put more Italian seasoning than any other season that you put into your spaghetti.
Jones.
Of course, like I taught you all before, your salt is the only thing that you're not going to do a lot of. So with my salt, I just like to dash. Just a dash. Now you will notice that while I'm seasoning my sauce and creating my spaghetti sauce, my noodles now are coming to a full boil. Now you don't have to get nervous, get scared. You see it's been boiling for a minute. Let it boil. Because the second that I finish my seasoning, I'm going to throw those noodles in. And that was our last seasoning. And now we're going to stir that up. You want to stir all those seasonings right into that sauce. You're going to cover that spaghetti sauce up on low, and you're going to turn your heat up just a little bit between low and medium. Now, while that is marinating and cooking and marrying all together, we're going to throw our noodles into the pot. You're going to use the entire box of noodles. Don't be scared. You're going to take the whole box right into your hand. You're going to drop those noodles right at the top. The key to noodles is, as you put the noodles in, you must stir your noodles. So let them go in. You can take your spoon and you move those noodles, and the water will instantly, because it is boiling and it's so hot, it will instantly start to cook the noodles. So you want to stir your noodles as soon as you put them into the pot, because you don't want your noodles to stick together. So we have the oil there protecting them, and then you have to actually move them around so that as you're putting them in, they're cooking and they're not cooking together as one. They're cooking separately. And once you get all those noodles to finally go down in that water, you just want to let them sit, and you're going to let them cook and let them start to swell. And sporadically, you're going to come back and you're going to stir it, and make sure that your noodles are not sticking together. So I know that a lot of you OCD, because I'm OCD too, but when it comes to food, you have to marry your food. I use the same spoon for my sauce that I did for my noodles, and I do that for a reason. You see those herbs that's floating around in that water. You see the seasoning already starting to marry with my noodles. That's what you want. If you're using 2 different spoons, then you are making these noodles bland. You're taking the taste out of it, and then you're going to try to marry it in at the end. No. This is a marriage from the beginning. It's just cooked separately. So I like to take the same spoon for my sauce, and I like to put the same spoon into my noodles, and I like those herbs to wash off of that spoon and right into those noodles and bring all of that flavor right into those noodles. Okay, so now our noodles, it's only been about 3 minutes, and our noodles is really cooking. They're boiling, they're getting softer. You're just going to stir them and make sure they're not sticking together, and they're good. Now we're going to open up our spaghetti, and this is the trickery. And I know this is always an argument on social media, Instagram. Do you put sugar in spaghetti? Absolutely. And let me tell you why. You have to put sugar in spaghetti because spaghetti is extremely acidic. It is all tomatoes, and if you're making it from scratch, you're making it from a tomato base. It's coming from a marinara sauce. So now we're going to cut the acid in, and we're going to cut the acidity in this pasta, and we're going to add in our favorite brown sugar. So you're going to use a tablespoon of brown sugar, and this is where we cut that heat back down to low, and we cut that. Don't be scared of the brown sugar. This is about how much you need. You're going to sprinkle that brown sugar right into that spaghetti. Then I'm going to use my regular white sugar, and I'm going to use a tablespoon of that, and we're going to sprinkle that right on top. And my last trick of them all, that's going to make your spaghetti so amazing. This cuts the balance in it. It just makes the spaghetti just stand out. You're going to use your raw, unfiltered honey. We're going to drizzle this honey right over top of this spaghetti. And we have just literally cut all of that acid right out of the spaghetti. We have made the spaghetti sweet and tangy and spicy all in one. It's going to be so amazing. So we're going to keep our spaghetti on low. We want to stir that in. And we're only going to cook this down for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're going to add in our seafood, and we're going to have spaghetti. Okay, so our noodles now is boiling to perfection, but you have to lift them. You want to lift them, and you want to look at these noodles. You want to look at those noodles and see if these noodles are swollen enough, if these are not swollen enough. If you can see, they still look a little transparent, like clear light. You want them to almost look white. So they're actually not ready yet, but they will be ready soon. So we're going to give these about another 3 to 5 minutes as well, and then we're going to drain these, and we're going to put our seafood in our spaghetti, and we're going to be almost done. Okay guys, so my noodles are just about done. I'm about to drain these noodles, and like I told you, you're going to use the same spoon, and there's so many great benefits from that. Like, most people don't even like their spaghetti to the next day, because spaghetti is something that has to marry. It has to marry. It has to almost taste like it was cooked in one pot. So you're going to use what is marrying everything in both pots, and it's going to work for you. So now I'm going to cut this off. These noodles are done. I'm going to cut this off, and this is how the noodles look. They're nice and swollen. They no longer have that transparent look on them. You can see that starch is cooked off of it. It is just ready to go, just right. And another thing is with noodles, you don't ever want to overcook your noodles, because if you overcook your noodles, they become mushy. They become too swollen, they become mushy, and it makes your spaghetti taste disgusting. So the reality is you have to watch over that. That's why I put it in when it's boiled, because it's gonna cook it fast. Then I can stare at it and I can watch it. You know, you don't want to just leave no noodles on a stove and think that, you know, once they're really big and fat, they're done. No, absolutely not. So now our spaghetti is cooking at a low, and we're going to open up the spaghetti, and we are now about to add the greatest part, the seafood. So I like to go in with my lobster first. You're going to drop your lobster right into that seafood, right into that spaghetti and that spaghetti sauce. We're going to stir it in. Oh my gosh. I am getting hungry cooking this dish. This is like one of my favorite dishes. Then we're going to take all of that lump crab and we're going to drop it in right after. Now seafood is not to be cooked long. So therefore, this comes in at the very end. You kind of want the heat to penetrate it, and you're going to cut this off very soon. We're not even going to let this cook with this seafood in it more than a minute. We're going to give it about a minute, no more than 2. Ever, no more than 2. I'm just going to cover it and let the steam marinate it all together for about 2 minutes, and then we're going to cut this off. And this is already done. My noodles are done. I'm about to drain my noodles, and then we're going to come back and dump these noodles in the spaghetti, and we have the most romantic, organic, authentic seafood spaghetti ever. Okay, it's been 2 minutes. I've drained my noodles. My sauce is done. I just cut my sauce off, and this is what our sauce looks like. Oh my God. It's just so beautiful, guys. And to be honest, in my house, we love traditional spaghetti. But since I created this dish, it's kind of hard. Like, do we do ground beef spaghetti or do we do seafood spaghetti? I think you could do both. But this one gives traditional spaghetti a run for its money. So, this is all done. I'm going to get my noodles. I drained them already, and all I do is drain them. All you do is drain your noodles. You do not rinse them. You do not wash the starch off of them. You do not do any of that. You just drop the boiling water in the noodles in your drainer and let it drain, and that is it. So we're going to throw our noodles in the pot. Everything together. Now, how beautiful is this dish? How amazing is this dish? How romantic is this dish? This dish is a restaurant dish where you was about to go spend $50, $60, $70 on an exotic plate. You can have made it right at home with me at Champagne and Cuisine. So what we're going to do while this is still piping hot, we're going to take our fresh Parmesan. This is your freshly shredded Parmesan. I'm going to get a knife and I'm going to open it because it's sealed to perfection. It's so fresh that it's sealed to perfection. And I get this out of Wegmans. And I'm going to drizzle this right on top of my spaghetti. Don't be scared of it when it comes to Italian cheese is your friend. This is fresh cheese. And then I'm going to cover this while it cools off so that all of my cheese can melt down in that beautiful spaghetti. I'm going to transfer it over to my countertop and we're going to serve this beauty. Okay guys, I have to be honest, this has been one of my favorite episodes thus far because this episode comes from a lot of love. It's Valentine's Day. I'm a lover. I'm a hopeless romantic. This dish is so good, you and your lover can eat it off the same plate. Even though we don't want to share food, this one you want to share. Because if you could share this one, you would love somebody. So Roz is about to come, and Roz is about to taste this. Are you ready, Roz?
Indeed. You know what I mean? Spaghetti is always a classic favorite.
Bring your.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never had a seafood spaghetti, so this is about to.
And hold on before you eat. Oh no, I could. You can edit that out, right? When I start talking. Okay. I could make another bowl, and we can put the garnishments on it to take pictures and stuff. Okay.
So, about to try it for the first time. I ain't never had no seafood spaghetti. Let's get it.
Get that lobster in there.
You
gotta get it all in the first bite.
A little crab. Oh, wait, that's hot.
It's hot. Hot is the best.
Unless your old camera going.
Well, that is the truth. That is the truth, but you ain't gonna miss them flavors.
That's solid.
Is it romantic? Is it restaurant?
Not too hot, not too spicy.
Oh, most definitely.
Subtle. Got a good, almost like smoky flavor to it.
Yes.
With the like paprika and
Yes.
all that. The seafood is good. Like it don't taste oceany.
Overcooked.
Which I don't.
Tough.
But yeah, which I don't like. Got good flavor and it matches.
Yes.
Yeah, everything going together fluid. Yeah, it's solid. It's really, really good.
Y'all, this is such an amazing dish. You have to. Would you cook this with your wife, Roz, on Valentine's?
100%.
100%. 100%. This is such a beautiful dish. It is beautiful to serve. It tastes amazing to eat. It's just romantic. Like, I really hope y'all had fun with this episode because this is one of my favorite dishes.
Yeah, this would be the next spaghetti I make.
Yes. See? You already ready to make it. And it's going to be hard to go back to the regular spaghetti. That's what it gives.
Right, facts. Yep.
So we pray that the only pain in life that you have is champagne.
Oh, you bubbly and cook with me.